My name is Chinu Lawal Sanusi. I'm the founder of Atinuke Cancer Foundation, and I am a cancer survivor. I was diagnosed in 2014, and it wasn't at the hospital, it was by myself accidentally. I touched my breast and then I felt a small lump. At this time, this was about the time when we had Ebola in Nigeria. It was at a time when nobody wanted to go to the hospital. But when I felt it, it was very, very scary because I'd heard about how cancer starts, but I didn't know anything about cancer. When I felt the lump, I touched it and I decided to Google what lumps in breast mean. Google told me that lumps could be benign and it could be cancerous. Because I'm quite healthy, or I would say that I used to be very, very healthy, I never thought that mine could be cancerous. So I waited for a while till when Nigeria was certified free of Ebola before going to see my doctor, who told me to do a mammogram. I did a mammogram and the mammogram came out with a wrong result that it was benign. So I was happy because I didn't know it was wrong actually. It wasn't until I decided to do a lumpectomy, because I was advised to do a lumpectomy and not leave the lump in my breast, that we did a pathology test and it recorded that it announced that it was cancerous, and that was how the story of my life started. At this time, it was quite unbelievable for me that just like that it would be cancer. So I decided to toe other lines, like traveling out of the country to do another diagnosis, to check myself again, have a second check. But by the time I tried to travel a couple of times, I kept getting a rejection at the embassy. It was something very unusual because I'd been traveling, but this particular time, it was all rejection, rejection, rejection. So I decided not to use any doctor in Nigeria because I didn't believe that result was mine. So I stayed. After like a year of doing the lumpectomy, the cancer resurfaced, the lump resurfaced, and I kept living in denial. It was quite a disturbing one for me because it was a bit painful and uncomfortable. But as luck would have it, I ended up going for a memorial lecture of somebody who had died of breast cancer. And at this memorial lecture, I met a couple of guests, special guests who came from the US, one from East Africa, then another person was the late Professor Ajekigbe, Oluremi Ajekigbe, may his soul rest in perfect peace. I had, after 2 weeks after this event, I had another interview date at the American Embassy. I went to the American Embassy and I was given a no again. Before then, I'd contacted the University of Maryland to see if I could get some treatment there. And I was asked to bring $100,000 for starters. At this period, I had nothing. I didn't even have as much as $10,000, talk less of $100,000 to treat cancer. So I decided to check out the doctor in Louth. That's Professor Ajekigbe. I was born in Lagos, but I never went to Louth before. I never even knew where Louth was at that time. I went there. On my way to Louth, I decided to call Professor Ajekigbe, and he said I could meet him at the hospital if I came there. So I went to see him. My intentions that day was just to come to him and talk to him as if it wasn't me, because I wasn't ready for the kind of treatment that I was being offered in Nigeria. I wasn't ready to do a mastectomy, which was what the surgeons I met were asking me to do. And I felt that it was just too unbelievable for me to just have cancer at that period. So why would anybody be offering me mastectomy? But by the time I got to Professor Ajekigbe, he was so friendly and so, it made me feel very, very comfortable. And I didn't realize when I started to tell him it was me. By the time he found out that it was 2 years before that time that I was diagnosed, he was alarmed and he decided that He would not waste any time on me. He would suggest that I should do a form of MRI at MICU, which I did, to check and see if it had not affected any of my organs. I don't have enough time to speak for so long, so I'm breaking the story, and I hope that this would make sense to some people someday. The only thing I can say about cancer is that early detection is very, very key. I'm alive today because I detected early and I started treatment early. I did chemotherapy, I did radiotherapy, and I did surgery afterwards. And today, 10 years after, almost 10 years after my diagnosis, I am here and I'm facing you, I'm talking to you. Thank God for that. There were a couple of side effects from the treatment, but let's start from chemotherapy. Chemotherapy made me vomit a lot. I was really sick. My mouth was generally blistered, and I couldn't take all kinds of water. I couldn't take any kind of water. Even the regular bottled water that we see around, I couldn't take it. But there was this certain very uncommon bottled water that suited me. I thought, well, that I could take, because when I take, I don't know why that was. My taste was generally changed. I couldn't eat all kind of food, and I was really very careful about the kind of food I ate. I had black nails. My tongue was very black as well. My skin changed color, and nausea was a very common one, especially the first 5 days of chemotherapy. It was really horrible. Then for radiotherapy, my skin bleached. It turned to wound, and I had to nurse that for a couple of weeks till it got better. Even till after about 2 or 3 years, I still had the scars from my radiotherapy and all that. Surgery wasn't so, that didn't have too much side effect, apart from the fact that my blood pressure rose up. I had that problem with blood pressure, but ever since then I've been on blood pressure drugs and all that. Aside that, I was very lucky, I would say. I didn't have as bad side effects as other people did. I think that was just grace. Anyway, I'm not going to say anything else, because the machine works the same way for everybody. But I spoke with my physicians, and they told me what to do, what to expect. My physicians had spoken with me about what I'd also communicated with them as well. I wanted to know for every treatment that I did. In fact, my physicians then called me Dr. Tinu, because I would want to know, even before you treat me, I want to know what you want to give to me, how it's going to make me feel, what effect I'm going to have. So I prepare my mind psychologically for whatever is coming, and then I'm able to manage it and get by with it. So my physicians were very, very helpful, very, very helpful. Like as I said earlier, I would say that my treatment, I would say that grace, I had grace in everything, because from the moment I met Dr. Ajikigbe, we became very, very close, and I could relate very well with him. I could call him at any time when I felt discomfort and tell him how I was feeling. I could also walk into his office. His office was open to me at all times. And even the doctors were really nice to me, because they got to know me through the head of radiotherapy and oncology, who was Professor Ajikigbe at the time. So everybody treated me very well, and they were always on time to help me with whatever I had problems with. Because I'm also a very outspoken person as well. I'll tell you how I feel about something. I'll tell you, I don't close my mouth. So it made it easier for them to also know how to treat me. I'll tell you immediately how I'm feeling, and then it wasn't a difficult thing for them to treat me. Reporting side effects, treatment and management. I'm going to use an example of my last event at Luth. Every year since 2016, Atinuke Cancer Foundation holds an event for cancer patients and caregivers. At this event, we communicate, we sit down to exchange and discuss how to help one another. The doctors talk to us and we talk to the doctors as well, how we feel they should help us better. And a lot of people came up with the fact that the nurses, some of the nurses, or should I say, not even nurses alone now, the caregivers can get so overwhelmed that they get cranky and get too harsh. But okay, I try to make them understand also as well that we have very minimal numbers of oncologists in the whole of Nigeria as we speak. At the time that I was doing my treatment, we had less than 80 oncologists. At the time that I was doing my treatment, as we speak now, because of brain drain, we have less than that. So the oncologists we have around are really doing a lot of work, working with hundreds of thousands of patients that need to be treated. So of course, we really need to understand with them as well. But at the same time, I think the best way we can help ourselves is to open up a form of communication line, or a dialogue line where doctors or caregivers can sit and exchange or dialogue with patients. This way it will help them to open up and also help them to know what the problem is with them, and then it will help to ease the problem of communication breakdown and all that. But like I said earlier, I speak out a lot. If we encourage our patients to speak out, we will definitely get a lot of messages from them, important messages actually. My last event, we had a lot of conversations which made everybody to speak out some truth and say some ways that they could be helped, like having a drop box where they can write some of their observations, or even making it giving them access to the doctors to communicate whenever they feel burdened with anything. My name is Tinu Lawal Sanusi, the founder of Atinuke Cancer Foundation, a breast cancer survivor, and this is my cancer story.